G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Tuesday the 10th of July. So I've got the daily chart up here and it's an interesting one. We've got these trend lines here which I'll get into in a sec, but these lines have been drawn here for a while. So it's amazing how the market keeps on coming back to these significant areas. It just goes to show that traders in general look for confluent areas, areas where a lot of traders are likely to gather, and then a great way to find those particular areas is to drawing your support resistance lines, trend lines and things like that. Just natural price action where traders are likely to buy, sell and gather around certain price levels. So it's the basics and fundamental of trading, but sometimes it's the simple things that work the most effective. So starting this particular day here, this is this big red candle, and for those that were alive in the markets, we had a really decent drop. It was kind of a little bit against the grain, so to speak, but I mean that's trading. I guess nothing is normal in trading. The markets does whatever it wants, but the reason I said a little bit unexpected was just expecting it to hold at this first support level here around the 44 area. What had happened, the market had bounced off that and started pushing up and looked like it had some momentum to come back up and potentially go back up to these highs. It came back to this level here, thought that was going to hold, then it broke through that, and then of course it just had a bit of a fall, and now it's really coming down heavy to this next support level, and you can see it's found some support off there. But a really decent selling day. At no stage did the buyers come in and have a go, and it was just a day that was kind of against the momentum. But from that daily chart, hopefully you can see it's still definitely a buyer's market. It's just we're having a real bit of a rebound at the moment. So this particular area here, there was actually a decent little bit of support around it. 1353.50, and it was a good area to possibly sell from once we confirmed and got underneath that, and I'll come back and show it on the 1 minute chart. But from here really started to get a push down. Once we started hitting this area here around about this 44-43, thought this is where the market was potentially going to hold and push higher. So as we said, we kind of expected the market head up. That wasn't the case, and you can see it's headed down without any sort of retracement. Got this support level here. We started pushing up from here, and this is where we could expect the market to push higher from. We've got a 5 minute sell in this particular area here. One that's certainly I think more of a 50-50 sort of one. Some of the other markets were holding it and looking like they wanted to possibly held up. In fact, we're getting support off that major daily area. Suggested that maybe this area could potentially push higher, and I like this as a buying area. If it started breaking this particular pivot here, it would have been a different sort of scenario in the way we went. But it was obviously that the sellers knew what they were doing. They were definitely in control. This area obviously it did push lower, but not before popping back up, kind of hovering around this area and finding some support around 45-50, which was a bit of a level yesterday as well. And then from there we got back down underneath that, and then they started breaking these lows again. That was kind of like the end of that level on the daily chart, and then away they went again and heading down towards the next sort of support. And you can see again, once we broke through this level here, tough as far as any sort of opportunities, just because it's just all sell off without any sort of formation about it. It sold off so quickly. What we want to see is retracements and opportunities to get in this market. But from a general perspective, I guess it was a tougher day to find trades. Normally when you see really trending days like this, especially when it's all one direction, there's a lot less opportunities than say yesterday, where we're in a tight range, but the market kept going from high to low, and as a result that provides more trading opportunities, even though the range was probably a quarter of what we had today. From here, this little patch here, it'll be better to talk about on the 1 minute chart, but this is where they showed like they were starting to hold and possibly get some momentum. You can see they popped up above a resistance level here, and this might be an area where they try to get a bit of a buying pattern forming, especially if we got all these sellers, and what happens in the day, people have made they're on the downside, have made a lot of profit, and then they're looking to get rid of the position, so they get rid of their positions. They've all got to buy them back after selling, and then quite often you get a bit of a rebound when you get such a strong down day like that. So I thought maybe this area was going to create a bit of that, but in the end it just kept on pushing lower. So flipping over to the 1 minute chart, here's this particular area where I thought the downside for a little while was inevitable. We pushed up, we came back and applied pressure to this bit of a point here, bit of a support level. Once we got down underneath that, so here you can see it bounced off it here, it's not through it there. Then we pushed through it here like this, so we're coming back into it, got underneath it, used it as the ceiling to push us back down. And I thought that was probably one, even though it's might seem like a little bit more of an aggressive approach. Certainly, I mean, nothing's aggressive as long as you stick to a plan or stick to a system. It's always something I personally like to look for and try and get a direction very early in the day and get onto the first direction very early. But of course, it's very systematic and got to approach it to a very specific way rather than just randomly looking to get in. You know, with a sell, for example, if you see the market going that way, of course that doesn't work, and everything's got to be systematic. So we hit our head on what was a support now becoming resistance. From there, push the market down. Then you can see through here we pop down to this support on the daily chart really quite quickly. No sort of retracement PowerPoint or anything like that. The closest we came was this sort of area here. But even this sort of thing here, just until we really started breaking past this 43 level again, all through here, just expecting maybe the buyer's going to grip and hold at some stage and start heading back to the upside. It's difficult when you've got a daily chart, so poised to head up, I suppose, and then you get some sort of formation like this. It's difficult to sell unless you've got confidence that there's some sort of level there that's going to hold and a reason for the markets to keep on going down. But at the end of the day, the trend is your friend, and definitely the down markets are here. So in saying that, there's still opportunities. So here's this area where we started to get a bit of a 5-minute formation. So here we popped up here and looked like this market was either going to go two ways: pop down here or head back and start setting higher again. So this is the 5-minute sell where it turned around and put a lot of pressure on this upside here. You can see this quite aggressive candle here. Just to look at it a little bit closer, what I thought is we're going like this, we're popping down. Okay, if you imagine just through this area here, there's a bit of a level at 45.50. See that there? There's some support. So when we're down like here, the market had popped up quite quickly. I thought that was a great area to sell from and then go low and just get that slightly better entry. The fact is the market kind of dealt sideways for a bit, created a bit of a holding formation here. You can see it's made a little bit of a higher high just in the very short term here, and then we've got some aggressive candles poking up here. So I definitely wouldn't be looking to sell at 45.50 then, because all of a sudden the dynamics of the market has changed quite dramatically. That's all in hindsight, and that's the logic was that this market was going to go up, and if it started getting above these levels here, we would have got some real momentum to push back to the highs. Quite often that will happen. In this particular case, obviously, it's not what happened. The sellers again somehow gained control, and they managed to hold this level down. So obviously the sellers are definitely around. From there they start pushing lower again. Then again here we've had this second run from the sellers where they push through all sorts of PowerPoints and no sort of retracement to get on any sort of opportunity there. Now this is the holding formation I talked about on the 5-minute chart as well. Thought this possibly was an area that maybe after such a sell-off that the market would start buying after all these sellers start taking profit, and something like this where you see it pop up like this, come back, pop up again. What you want to probably see here is not make lower lows, so that kind of made this area a little bit tougher. If you see it pop up like this, come down, make higher lows, then this is really kind of right for the picking, and those sort of areas are the ones that once you see it breaking this sort of area, away you go. So it had some power, had some momentum. I thought it had some chance, but the fact is it made a lower low here, so that kind of dragged or drained quite a bit of momentum or power from this potential upside. And from there you can see it's held, pushed lower again, and we got a bit choppy just to finish off the day. So overall, an interesting market, one directional day. Most often we won't see that unless you're breaking significant areas. You will get two-sided markets, which makes obviously more opportunities. So, but occasionally you get a day out of the blue like this, which kind of takes you a surprise. But they're always great days to learn from as well. So that's a wrap up for Tuesday. Remembering tomorrow, Wednesday, is FOMC announcement, so we'll see what happens quite often on a day like that. Normally because the FOMC, which is the US interest rate, so it's a major announcement of the year. It happens 8 times a year, the most significant news in the marketplace. Normally happens right smack bang in the middle of the day, say around 12, 1, maybe even 2 o'clock. So what quite often happens is the market will get really quiet leading up to the announcement because traders all doing the same thing. They're hesitating to get in, knowing that there's some sort of major announcement coming, so they're not willing to open up new positions. And then as soon as the major announcement comes, depending on how it reacts to the market, it can get quite volatile and make trading difficult for the afternoon. But anyway, that's what happens in general, but still doesn't mean there won't be opportunities. So something to be aware of, and we'll take it as it comes. So I'll speak to you guys on Wednesday.